An AVOCADO, fruit or vegetable? Go.
All right.
Yeah,
Here we
how
go.
you feeling?
Tuesday.
Feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm feeling all right. I had a little migraine issue today. Still kind of happening. Welcome to the show, everybody. Tuesday.
Thank you.
Day after Native American Remembrance Day. As I like to say it.
That's right. Hopefully you had a good day yesterday.
I did.
Celebrated.
We worked a little bit. PJ didn't show up for work, but
What was your excuse yesterday?
My
Were you celebrating the holiday?
Indigenous Peoples Day, yep. Hello?
there you go.
I'm
You're
sorry.
a little close today, huh?
Yeah.
No, that means go.
It means move farther. What'd you do yesterday, Peach?
Yeah, so yesterday my mom was in town, so I spent some time with family. Yep.
Nice.
Oh, good for you.
Very good. Always nice to do that.
We worked a little bit here. We had some people in town, and we got some work done yesterday. But yeah, I have
Plastic straw.
Paper.
Paper
It's
straw.
good
It's
because plastic straws. I think there's like 3 to 5 or some. I forget what millions of straws go to waste every year, and a lot of them get caught in turtles' noses.
Oh no!
Have you seen
Why do they
the
put it up
Facebook
their
video
nose?
of them actually like ripping out? This would be a good one to put on there, right here, Brianna. Like they actually rip out like with pliers, like the straw that's in the turtle's nose.
That's horrible.
Okay, so Papa Kwan's coffee shop owned by my dad. He actually uses paper straws. Gets a lot of complaints about it because it starts to kind of get flimsy, a little limp.
Well, you have to drink it quicker, but I think it's quite nice. The firmness is actually taking taking me back a little bit.
So today started my day like I normally do. Dropped off my daughter, went for a run, came back, did my meditation, had a little bit of breakfast, and as I was cleaning up from breakfast, I noticed that I started to see like a little swirl. And so what I'll do at that point is I'll look at like a blank wall, and I start to see definitely a swirl. And so what that is, that's an aura of a migraine about to happen. I was like 110%. I was like
ready to roll.
I was ready to have sex with Tuesday and just like have at it.
I like that.
And as soon as I see it, it's so deflating because then you're like, oh, for the next 4 or 5 hours, it's going to suck.
Oh, man.
And so what actually happens is, and I don't know, I hope no listeners have this, but I'm going to bet listeners get this, is you start to see this like little aura start to get bigger and bigger throughout 20 to 30 minutes. Starts as like a little speck and then just gets bigger and bigger.
What color is the aura?
It's all different types of colors,
Wow.
but it's kind of like, have you ever like looked at something really shiny and then looked away and you still kind of see
Absolutely,
it?
the sun.
Imagine that like constantly like kind of like spinning and swirling and...
Isn't that... Are you sure that's not just like relapse from the solar eclipse and looking directly at
Positive.
it? Positive. All right, cool.
But what happens is it does that for like 20 to 30 minutes and it gets to a point where you just... When I say you can't see, it's not like everything goes black. It's just that everything turns into like that big swirl where literally I just can't make you out.
I'm sure
and
light
you
is
lose
affecting you too.
peripheral vision and everything. So what I've done, and I like to live a natural, healthy lifestyle, but I try to get ahead of it. So I'll have like a Tylenol, but even I don't
Good
even
question,
like doing that.
though. So, like, do you look at Tylenol as something that you shouldn't be taking if you're a natural, healthy person?
It's got
or-
its uses, right? If
Right.
you're in excruciating pain from a headache, guess what? Tylenol works, right?
Exactly. Why suffer? Is my thought. And is there is there anything else you could take
there's
instead?
there's different like supplements, and maybe if you have an inflammation of a certain body part or whatever, you can take some natural anti-inflammatories, like turmeric's a really good one and things like that. But from like kind of like a natural headache cure, I mean, really nothing beats Tylenol or Aleve or ibuprofen or whatever it is. And I know there's differences between them, but the downside is that since I don't take a lot of Tylenol, it does like it makes me feel a little bit nauseous. So did you notice, like, we went to lunch, I was burping a lot. Because I was probably on the fence between throwing up and not throwing up. So that's why I kept burping.
Really?
Yeah.
You did pretty good.
It's like I was not.
You ate your lunch.
I ate, sushi. Got it down.
Got it down.
But it sucks. It's just, I used to get these things. They started when I was probably like 15. I remember the first time I got it, I was playing basketball and I was sitting on the bench and I saw this and I remember just like trying to get my dad's attention. I was like, I can't see. And it kind of like, it eventually went away. And thank God the coach didn't put me into the game. Like I want to go in regardless, but I literally been sitting there waiting for a pass and gone over my head. But then like, it probably happened 6 or 7 times a year. And then I cleaned up my diet. I got really healthy, but it still plagues me probably like once or twice a year now. And it just sucks because it's not like you can just see it and you're like, the rest of my day is going to be like this.
You know,
but I try to keep positive because guess what? You and I have to travel tomorrow, and this has never happened, knock on wood. Like, I know the stats are my favorite. I'm not going to get one tomorrow. So it's like, okay, I'm going to go through a little bit this day, but guess what? I'm not going to get it tomorrow.
Good. So, hey, how long do you meditate for in the morning?
It all depends.
And do you have a specific goal when you meditate in the morning? Is there something, like, do you have something you go into and you're like, I want to get better understanding or conquer this?
Yeah, that's a good question. So anywhere between 10, 15, I've gone in there long ones, like 20 minutes. And my routine is where I just kind of we all have a bunch of stuff running through our heads, business, family, fun stuff, bad stuff, anxieties, worries, good stuff, good stresses, and things like that. And so I get to a point where I kind of calm that, and then I do a kind of like drop into a more quiet, like still mind type of space. And I try and get to that at least every time. Sometimes it doesn't happen, and I've learned to not beat myself up if that happens. I tried. I'll have at it again either tonight or tomorrow.
What's your success rate? Percentage? 50-50?
It's so funny because I hate putting numbers to this thing, but I would say it's 100% because if I sit down to do it, I win. But if actually stilling your mind and getting to the quiet space, I can get there pretty consistently now. So probably 7, 8 times out of 10.
Good for you.
But I also know now that like sometimes it's just not in the cards to get still at that point. But I don't beat myself up about it. So, and there's like a lot of things. So you asked like, what do you do? What are the goal? There's this kind of talk about setting intentions and things like that. And I'm not huge into that, but like when I was battling anxiety and fear of death, like my goal was to get over the fear of death for 6 months, and it finally happened. But the like now, like there's certain things like basically I go in there with the intention of getting still. Because eventually things will work their way out. Right. Now, what happens is like you start to get these thoughts, and you the whole thing is to let them go and not attach to them. But you'll get to deep things. Like you'll get to like I've definitely cried. Like I've cried after once because you'll hit a certain, let's say it's part in your mindset where it's something about your parents or something about grandparents or a loved one or whatever, and the initial reaction is to run away and stop your practice and leave. But the best thing you can do is stay with it to try and learn from it. And so, we all operate on some spiritual level, whether we know it or not. And it behooves us if we try and harness that and be more present with that spiritual side of us as to operate on a daily basis. Have you
You're
even tried?
To teach me. Yeah, I've tried a couple times. I will say that every time that I try to meditate, I get better and better, or I get deeper and deeper into a state in which I feel like a little bit of calmness and not much going on up there. But I'm a maniac. There's like, it's nonstop.
It
up
is
there,
nonstop.
and
but I like that. Like I appreciate that about you.
Yeah.
But it would behoove you to maybe just
away.
To quiet. No, it's not even running away.
Oh,
it's actually trying to understand like where those thought processes are coming from. Because there's this consciousness. There's this consciousness that's within all of us. And so we spend every single day kind of doing all the stuff we're programmed to do. Like we get down, get on my computer. Oh, this person said this to me, so let me react this way. I have to go clean a diaper, and I hate that, but I react this way. And it's trying to really kind of see beyond that, like what is happening beyond that. And so I can get to a point where I'm not just operating off of like these pre-programmed notions. I can understand that this is just kind of like, you call it the physical form world where it's fun to play, fun to do all these things, fun to do business, fun to play on a swing, fun to go on a boat, and it sucks when people die, and it sucks when people get hurt, and you kind of played all these different things. But there is something deeper that's going on there. And to be able to explain that is literally the hardest thing. And so you could also, this got really religious here for a second, but you could also say that's God, because you can't really understand God. If you look at the Old Testament, if you look at, Jewish people don't like saying God. They say Yahweh, or, they won't even say it. They'll say G-D if they write it out. But it's kind of true. It's like you can't explain it. There's no way to physically put it into words what God is. And so that's been my experience of kind of connecting with the consciousness behind it, which is part of this bigger whole of things in which we were all part of. I got to turn down the air conditioning real quick. Keep it going. Talk.
I blacked out. Yeah. So what about you, PJ?
I was gonna say I'm a big meditation person.
Are you really?
Yeah. No, I actually.
I would.
Oh, you didn't know that?
You know,
Oh, yeah. No.
and
So
that's why stereotypes.
Was that all
are bad.
bullshit? The stuff that I just said?
No, I thought it was.
I thought it was great.
No, I thought it was the opposite. I try to do it like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. It's easier in the evening because
thinks
it's
it's
like
cow
morning
shit.
in a rush usually. But it totally helps my focus, and I feel like more relaxed throughout the day.
When did you start doing it?
Yeah.
I started doing it. My mom actually recommended it to me because she did it, and I think it was like 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
it was about.
Is there a name for the practice that you do, or what?
So there's an app called Headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've been doing, and then, but it costs money for past the 10th one, so I just like do the 10 over and over.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you actually like feel yourself meditating and getting to that place that everybody speaks of, or?
I kind of like so obviously it's tougher when you start out. So something usually I have a thought pop in my head, and like after like 30 seconds of like thinking about it, I'll like be like, oh wait a second, whoa. So I go back to like thinking of like
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. You're supposed to concentrate on your breathing, right? That's essentially
Yeah,
the
I
way
do
you.
agree, yeah.
Well, actually, I'm always the contrarian when it comes to everything, right? The whole goal of it is to get still, right? And so concentrating on breathing is a good exercise to get you to become still. But if all you're doing is think about breathing and thinking about certain things, you're still kind of in your brain mode. And the whole point is to kind of go into that, that nothingness, that quiet mode. And I think Headspace and all this stuff is excellent tools to do that, to kind of start getting people into the meditation practice. But as I also urge people to, is like get to a point where you can do it without it, right? Where you can say, I'm traveling and I don't have my phone on me, which rarely happens, but like, let me just kind of quiet down at that point. Because I think that's humans need to, and I'm not poo-pooing what you do. I think it's absolutely fabulous. I would just say, it's almost like try to do it without the app too, because we become so connected to these things that, if we say, what might actually happen is you might be somewhere and be like, I really could, I need to meditate now, but I don't have my phone, so I'm not going to do it. That's a problem, right? You should be able to stop and do it whenever you need to do it. But I think those things are great, and they're great tools for getting into it. It's just a matter of transcending that and getting to that deeper space, because we don't need phones to connect to that consciousness that's within all of us. I hope, is that cool?
That totally makes sense to me. To me, I kind of almost like picture like kind of like gears in my brain, like recycling my brain, even though that sounds crazy, but that's kind of what I think.
It definitely sounds crazy.
I mean, yeah, that's Looney Tunes.
There's no way you can get around that one.
No, that's, it's, and as you do it, you start to kind of recognize these patterns in your head that you loop through each time, and then you eventually get to the point where you drop, you kind of, experience this. It's almost like it's a peaceful feeling of just nothingness. And so this is what the Buddhists call, nirvana, nothingness, openness, and for all these different religious things. And it's funny, like, if you actually take a look at all the different religions, like, and I know that religions, and I even give them a little bit of a bad rap, because, majority of them aren't used to do good in the world. They're used to really hold people back. But they all have some really good things in them, which all really loop together, whether it's Islam, whether it's Hinduism, whether it's Buddhism. There's all kind of this central theory of, one, being good to yourself, two, being good to others, not necessarily in that order, but then also that theory of God in each one mostly has a different name. But if you actually study it, it's kind of like this oneness thing that we're all part of, but that you really can't explain what it is. Now, there's that typical father figure in the sky with a white beard and white hair that I often joke about, which I actually need to do a better job in my life of not joking about that all the time. But that's a more recent times kind of like westernized depiction of God, when I don't think that does God justice. Sorry. That's okay. You're drinking your nice coffee. But
my paper straw.
It's once you it's you can't fully understand it on this level of consciousness, but once you experience a little bit of that transcendence into, this nothingness, this consciousness, it makes a lot of sense, while it also brings up so many more questions.
Sure.
Which is kind of cool at the same time. Yeah.
Very good.
Was that good? Did you follow that, or did you completely?
I blanked out towards the end,
Okay,
but
cool.
I got you for the most. No, I'm kidding. That was
He was meditating.
stillness. No, I was always taught. My neighbor actually created an app, and I was always taught that the way that he did it, and he suggested that I do it as a beginner, is to just focus on your breathing, and then when things would pop into your brain, go back to focusing on your breathing, just
Totally.
in and out, in and out. And regardless of whether, because I obviously have not gotten to that point that I ultimately want to get to, but I do definitely feel more calm and still and relaxed. and not like such a neurotic maniac that I normally am.
When have you been doing it? You didn't tell me.
I do it occasionally. Whenever I feel like
You just do it every day.
Yeah. Eventually,
And I should be doing it every
should.
day. And I should be doing it
probably
twice a day.
should.
PJ's crushing it twice a day.
I probably should do it in the morning. Would you say that that's probably the best time to do it?
You do it when it works well for you.
See, yeah, okay, great. That's just great. It's like anything else in the world. In other news, no, I'm kidding.
But it's funny because we talk about these devices, and you were just reading this article.
I was reading an article, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was reading an article about the guy that, I think his last name is Rosenstein, but he invented the like in 2009 that you put on Facebook. So, like, Steve writes something cool, and I'm like, Matt likes this. And so he created that, but he actually is now no longer using Facebook and limiting his, not using Snapchat either in his social media because he basically just feels like he's just too much engagement with the phone, and it leads to like I'm sure this happens a lot in your life and in everybody's life where you're having a conversation with somebody, whether you're the one conversating, you're the one using your phone. There's really not you looking me in the eye, I'm looking you in the eye, and we're having a full-on conversation. There's that third party there that's taking that attention away from having a deep conversation.
I didn't read the article, but I had a few people tell me about it, and from what they told me was that this guy feels really badly about it because, you know, you have this dopamine effect of how many likes did I get, you know, how many people like this, how many things can I like type of deal.
Right.
And so it just becomes like you're becoming more and more attached to this device, which is taking away from our personal connections with each other. And part of that also article was, you know, the little, like when you pull down to refresh.
More than 2,000
like
times
blink.
a day. 2,000 times a day we do that.
What, pick it up and look at it?
Touch our phone 2,000 times.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane? And he came, you know, he was saying something that you hear often, but it's kind of interesting to think that he said, you know, sometimes positive things have negative consequences, right? So it's really positive that we're able to connect with our loved ones and our friends, and no matter where you are in the world, but it's also negative at the same time that it takes away from doing other things in your personal life, whether it's having a conversation, you know, on a deep level or being as productive as you can. Check the Facebook stats at work, folks. So
I was going to say, but I think one of the biggest reasons why people don't like social media is because they tend to try to, like, they compare themselves to others too much and it makes them feel bad, you know, with the likes and everything.
Well, isn't that, and I couldn't agree with you more, isn't that what Instagram is? I mean, essentially, this guy's on a vacation, this girl's on a vacation, her vacation's cooler than his. Are they even enjoying their vacation? Because it looks like they're spending most of their time trying to take cool pictures for other people, for them to be jealous of their vacation.
That's why I do it.
That's cool.
That's why Steven goes on vacation.
I go on vacation to post photos
on Instagram
to make myself feel better. Because people like,
hey, you know what?
Sounds like a blast to go on vacation with.
Probably.
I'll have fun too. But
But you know what's actually crazier to think is that, so our generation, this generation, is pretty much like, even like millennials.
We're the last ones, man.
We are the last ones who remember a time without phones, right? Because there definitely was. I mean, sure, you're a young guy, but you still remember a time without phones. Yep. My daughter will grow up just with. This will be her, like, she knows nothing else.
She ever needs to know anything, all she has to do is go, hey, Siri.
And so it's one of those things. How do you harness it? How do you try and, you know, fight it? And I don't think you fight it.
We can.
But it's funny. Like, if you think about kind of like artificial intelligence and artificial worlds and stuff like that, we all live in it anyway. It's like when you pick our phone, and I do it too, and you load up mail or you load up whatever, and you're involved here. You're not here right now. You're in that other business world right now making things. And these kids these days, but now kids like on Instagram and Twitter and all these different things, like they're in that world. And can they disconnect from it? Right?
They can't.
Can they disconnect from it?
That's the issue that. It honestly, it concerns me, but I don't want to sound like an old curmudgeon man.
Do it.
You know what I mean? It just concerns me that we're just too focused on what's going on.
Okay, so let's go down
that tablet.
Like, what concerns you about it?
The relationships in our day-to-day lives are number one. You know, I just feel like, I don't know. Was it not? That's not a good way to propose.
It sounds so cliche,
that.
but like you grow up, and as a kid, you come home from school, you do your homework, and then you go outside and you play with your friends.
Yeah.
People don't do that anymore.
No, they play video games.
Right.
And which, don't get me wrong, video games are awesome. I played video games too.
Sure.
But yeah, there's no element of neighborhood in a lot of situations, and
Your first what?
see
My
what
daughter's 5. She has one.
yeah.
But it's not connected to the actual service. She only gets Wi-Fi. Okay, guys.
Yeah, but nowadays,
So it's like an iPod.
Nowadays, all you need is Wi-Fi.
I
You
know.
can basically do everything.
I know.
But you know what? At the same time, like when you say that, my initial reaction is like, "You're a horrible father," but then my secondary reaction is like, "Well, you know what? It is the way of the world now, and if you are going to make that choice to not have your kid have the technology that the rest of his or her classmates have, you're going to ultimately be putting them behind. Even though I don't agree with all of it, I still feel like that's the only solution you have.
We do a good job of trying to balance it out, which is like the TV's never on at our house. Now, granted, you could also call this a TV, right? So the TV's never on at our house, but we do a lot of stuff.
All daily TV.
Whether it goes on, whether we're on the boat or whether we go swimming or whether we go to the beach, we try and do stuff like that so that the phone's not involved. There definitely are times
As I check my phone if anybody texted me.
There's definitely times though when I wish I'm like, oh, she's just being just a brat. Can't she just get on the phone and just like relax for now? But it's, I think it's one of those things that we're gonna have to learn. How do we deal with this extra, thing in our lives from a parenting standpoint? But it can be a good thing. Like she definitely, like on the way to school, like we'd talk, but like sometimes she doesn't want to talk. And I was the same way when I was little. So I would just be like a little dickhead driving to school and just, not say anything. So she'll pick up her phone and she plays this one app which teaches her like how to spell, and it'll give her like,
That's great.
It'll give her the word like,
Right.
at golf, and it's like make 2 words out of golf. And so she talks to me about that. So it can be definitely used for some really good things.
No,
like
that's
that.
great. The other thing that bothers me is text messaging.
What bothers you about text messaging?
It's impersonal. It's impersonal.
So is email.
It is, but emails, you're not texting really to do business, right? Email, maybe that's just me. I look at email as more of a professional business type of communication method these days, with all the social media available and other avenues to communicate.
Well, texting is super casual, right? It's
super casual, but I could say something and it can be taken 7 different ways. There's no emotion behind it, and
Well,
Lord
there's
knows I like
emojis
to say
now.
controversial things.
Casual, but we've hired half our employees over text message.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have.
well, it's cash.
You were
See?
through
She was
email.
through email. So
I think Jeff was actually through text message.
we're like, Jeff, you showing up or not? What's up, dude?
No, but you're right. I think about that. We have we communicate with prospects
mine was
through
basically
text message.
through text message.
Yeah.
So I've never communicated with anybody for business purposes through text message, except for if I was at like a conference or something. I'm like, hey, we still on for 7 at Starbucks? Something like that.
What about voicemails? Do you leave voicemails?
10 out of 10 times. You have to.
Wow.
Ew.
For
You're
business,
so
you
old.
have to. I know. This is the thing. It's like I just don't like the whole
But
future.
even for me, for business, I won't leave voicemails. It depends. Like if it's like a 1-800 number.
I'm
whatever.
a sales guy, Jake.
I know.
And I don't want to leave voicemail either, but I have to.
You're a TV show host.
Oh, that's right. Can somebody get me makeup then?
I had this really good idea.
When are we going to start getting donuts and bagels?
I don't know.
We should get
Craft
sponsored.
services.
Yeah, who can we? We should reach out to somebody. Yeah. At Brooklyn Water Bagels. Where's our bagels?
But speaking of that, do you know what just is shutting down at the end of October?
Oh, I just got an email
Burlington
from them.
Factory that opened up on
I
North
really
Lake
wish
last
it
week.
AOL Instant Messenger is shutting down at the end of
Oh my
October.
God.
Did you get the email from them saying they were shutting down?
I haven't checked my AOL account in a while. But I mean, we grew up in a world of, and it's so crazy because that's how I actually got on the internet the first time was America Online.
Yeah.
I remember I was in like 5th grade, like
Mom, get off the phone.
in chat rooms talking to people. And I remember like I was, for my school where I was the first person like would ever be on like the internet. And so I remember going to school the next day and being like, oh my God, I just talked to somebody in California. And they're like, how did you do it on the phone? I was like, no, I did it on the computer. And kids were like, what? Tell me all about it. Right.
Did you wear New Balances?
New Balances?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Vans. But anyways, like that was such a novelty that you would actually talk to people in a different area than you that wasn't on the phone, and
State, country.
it was amazing.
What did you say when you got into a chat room? What was the first thing you said?
Age, sex, location. check.
ASL.
ASL with like hyphen.
Yep.
But it was but that's how it started.
Oh my God, 37 from
Yeah. Did you lie?
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I
100%.
was 62 from.
Oh, that
Somewhere.
you took it too far.
Yeah, I did. They're like,
Because
oh,
everyone else was 17.
I got kicked out of the chat room.
But yeah, it's something that like helps build all of this
Cool to be
communication stuff, whether it's
62.
Twitter, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, everything. It was, it had a little bit of a hint of AOL Instant Messenger, and then of course, your away messages. Like I don't know if you remember that or
Oh yeah.
So cool.
away message, and you'd always put like a cool
Yeah.
music line or something
Off like scaling Mount Everest.
Yes.
Wednesday.
because you'd have your away message, you have your profile below it,
Yeah.
and oh my
Good
goodness,
times. So they're shutting it down. Just nobody's utilizing it anymore.
I imagine not.
Yeah. I can't believe it lasted this long. 2017.
I mean, so it probably AOL
That's
started maybe like
20 years.
1990, something like that.
Let's see.
I mean,
nice.
like
More than-
AOL. I want to say like 95 is like
97. 20. It'll be 20
yeah,
years.
Okay, so I was
Instant
right.
Messenger came
20
out
years.
Yeah.
because there was like Instant Messenger on its own in AOL, and then it branched off
Right,
from there.
right.
Got it.
I actually was always AOL. I never really used AIM, the separate thing.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. But I'd
It's
go on.
basically the same thing, but AIM was the separate platform.
Right.
But
Right.
your same buddies. Oh, buddies.
Who started AOL?
Time Warner.
Steve Case.
Time Warner.
No, they bought AOL. No, it's
Oh my.
amazing how that what it did, and then obviously that it's wrapping up.
I feel like we broke this news premature. It was
We
like
talked about
last
it
week.
last
We
week.
talked about our AIM.
Yeah,
games.
we did.
We did.
We did.
Wow.
What's
We
that?
did.
Heard it first.
You heard it first. We predicted it.
Man.
Tweet about it.
We should have probably SEC filed or something. Like we didn't know anything about that. But yeah, it's amazing. One of the things that when we were at lunch, real quick, kind of like want to poll around the room. Fish tanks, you for 'em or against them?
Oh, for them. I had one in my old house. Loved it. Didn't have to clean it though. So
Love them.
What?
Love them, but they're horrible.
Okay.
They're horrible for the fish, but they're so cool to look at.
It is PJ. Before it.
Animal torture.
I
oh,
like it. Went right
Okay, we
there.
went right down, didn't we?
Do you like them?
are we talking about like a bowl for a goldfish or like a
We're not talking about the
Why do
zoo
we have to
aquariums
talk
yet.
about
like
any
a
of
500
that?
gallon?
We're talking
tank?
about
We're
like
talking about a fish tank, and the first thing that comes to your mind what a fish tank looks like. At least that's what I think we're talking about. Are we talking about that?
like what we saw at lunch
one.
today.
Yeah. Okay, so it's circular and it goes floor to ceiling. And it's about 20 feet high and about 6
Oh,
feet
that
wide.
one. Yeah.
Are you for or against that?
There's sharks in that one too.
They're
No.
eels.
There's not sharks in that one.
I think there is.
At Dive Bar in Jupiter,
Yeah.
there's not.
I ruined it. I'm sorry.
There's 2 eels, a lionfish, a couple snapper, a couple grouper.
I don't know. We should
Jeff,
call in.
4
yeah.
fish tanks against fish tanks.
I like them. Pacifying, not the maintenance.
He likes it. Gosh, you
See-
guys, I'm with you. Like, think about it. Like,
what did I say? Didn't I say I like them, but I think they're horrible for the fish?
I like how you're hedging there. I like it.
Thank you very much. Well,
Uh,
don't tell me you don't look at a beautiful.
But what'd you say today? Like, you're the fish. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go this way. Go, donk. And then it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go this way. Go, donk.
There was one fish. He was up at the top and he's just staring down. He's like, "I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna do it."
When you
They look so
you have
depressed.
dogs. When you first got your dogs, did you cage them?
We talked about this.
Yeah, we did.
did.
For
Doesn't
for-
matter though. I like the
From a
question.
potty training standpoint, we did.
And wasn't that hard
What's
when
worse,
they,
that or putting fish in a tank?
Putting fish in a tank.
I think
'cause there's
fish in a
there's
tank.
there's no. I mean, that's it.
There's
That's
no
death
end.
sentence right there.
Literally death sentence.
Death sentence.
You don't think there's a difference between getting a fish from the pet store versus going in the ocean and taking a fish out of there and putting it in there?
I mean, they're both bad.
I mean, I think the ocean thing's far worse, but a fish that's like raised to be sold in a pet store, that's, I mean,
Wow.
Jeez, like a little algae eater, just like
Sure.
he was destined to
Little
live in that
pufferfish.
tank. No, pufferfish can live out in the ocean.
yeah, sure. They
What
can
were you
also
gonna say,
live in my
PJ?
tank too.
I just kind of think a dog's life matters a little more than a fish's life.
Oh
my
Yeah.
God.
And that's why
Why
I
do
think
you
that's
say
much
that?
worse.
You don't think a fish has feelings?
All lives matter.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't,
that
I remember
boom.
you saying no more than a week ago, you were like, when I go fishing, it's really horrible when we catch these fish.
No, it is, but I just think like the emotional connection between a human and a dog is like a bazillion times more than a fish and a human.
Sure. I mean, there is that interaction because the dog can actually respond.
All right,
to
let me
can
ask
do
you this
different
question
things.
then. PJ. So, what about a cat?
Meow. They're more than a fish, but not as much as a dog.
Okay. This is awesome. I am no longer the most controversial person on this podcast.
Yeah, that's probably the most controversial thing people have said on the air.
Oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all personal, and I feel bad for that, but I'm just gonna be honest, it's all personal. But I think you can make the argument that the emotional connection between a human and a dog is more than a human and a cat, even though
What's your evidence?
I used to have a cat as a kid. I loved it, but
It. Was it a her or a
Funny,
him?
You didn't say
It was-
Charlie.
it was-
Yeah, exactly.
He said
him.
it.
It.
Argument. Probably you walk dogs. They. Come
So
home.
walking something actually defines it as being.
No, listen, as much as I want to throw him down a hole right now, I couldn't agree with you more. You don't walk
Let's throw him down that
No,
hole.
no. You don't walk a cat.
Right.
You can.
I don't ever want to see anybody walking a cat with a leash. Ever in my life. If I ever see that, I'm going to go to that person. I'm going to say, "What's your phone number? What's your address?" I'm
What
sending
about
over
what
animal
about
control.
walking your toddlers on leashes?
There's 2 toddlers in my neighborhood, and this lady, she's like,
Oh no.
it's horrible, man. It's horrible. And then you see these kids, their backpacks, they're running in the airport. Next thing you know, rah, 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 rah.
Well,
Boom, and you're like, "Mom, chill. You're gonna get them whiplash."
But hold on, I've always made fun of them. I was always against them until you
Yeah.
have kids, because we haven't done them, and I won't
don't
do them.
travel if you have kids.
But
That's
true.
the
But
rule.
think about it. If you have this little hellion that just won't get under control, but you need to go somewhere, it's not bad to have a leash on them.
Wow, I
And it's
automatically.
and by the way, it's really not a leash. It's a backpack, like a monkey on the back with like a long tail. Okay.
totally.
Okay.
What does
All
that
right.
say more about the child or the parent?
Yeah.
It all like,
That's horrible parenting. If your kid is running around like a maniac, you're obviously not a good parent.
That's I disagree, because there are some
no
kids that are just you're poking the bear. Yeah. There are some kids that are just genetically little assholes that are just
Oh
like
my
running
God.
around.
So the parent's an asshole.
No,
Genetically.
the
So-
parents
You
are
just said
angels.
genetically.
No, but that doesn't necessarily mean they got it from there. Maybe the grandfather's an asshole.
okay.
Right?
It
'Cause
does
can skip.
I think it skips generations,
Old racist.
which would make me
I don't.
uber asshole.
Anywho, so we're all. So
We digressed here a bit.
you think fish tanks are bad, but cats are awful, and
No, I never say cats are awful, for the record. I said dogs are just a little better.
PJ Scale.
I agree. I'm more of a
dogs,
dog
cats,
person.
fish.
I respect the cat thing. We have a cat that comes by every morning now, and we made the mistake of feeding it, and so now it's just always there. And but it's cute. It's adorable. I go outside, I pet it. It rubs up against my leg. It's like super quiet. It's like, why is it so quiet? You know, it needs to
I don't.
drool or
I don't
something.
trust them as much as a dog.
That's what
though.
I'm saying. You look in their eyes, and their eyes are just like
Yeah.
they have the same eyes as like alligators, snakes.
I don't think that any of that's true, but
Yeah, the same eyes. So, look that up. Anyway, so
National Geographic.
I just wanted to. I bring something up last week
you
about.
brought something up, not brang.
Oh,
Sorry, teach.
calling more attention to it.
Sorry.
Well,
Go
it's
for it. I'm
good
sorry,
because
that
I
was not
never
good.
correct him, so it's fine.
Sorry.
I brought something up last week.
What was that?
And it was basically.
This is an apology?
Is it a fruit or is it a vegetable? And I really think we should start implementing that segment. And I have a couple things written down here that I'd
Okay.
like to test your knowledge on whether it's a fruit. This is just business
Sure.
stuff, and then I had some. It's just whatever. So we'll go around the room. We'll start over here with Jeff. Jeff, an avocado, fruit or vegetable? Go.
Fruit. Jeff says a fruit.
We did this last week, right? Oh, we didn't.
As a
We guessed on this one last week.
No, it's
I'm assuming he's
it's
going to tell us the
100% a
answer.
fruit.
It is a fruit. Okay, good. That was the warm up. Black pepper.
Black pepper. A spice.
vegetable.
It's a trick
It's
question.
a spice. It grows off a plant.
It's a fruit.
I don't know.
Seeds. I don't know.
Are you just making this up?
No. I looked it up on the internet, and nobody lies on the internet, so it's real. All right, let's do another one. Last one.
Pick a good one.
Peas.
Vegetable.
Fruit.
Legume.
Ooh,
Legume.
He's getting technical.
I don't. No comprende.
You lose.
It's like a bean.
Beans are like.
It's a fruit.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So basically, rule of thumb, folks, if it has seeds, it's fruit. Period.
So is the pea the actual seed?
I don't know. I have no idea. Olives.
And
Olives.
That'll do
yeah,
it for
cucumbers
fruit
are
or
fruits.
vegetable.
Olive's fruit. Olive is fruit.
Olives are fruit.
Yeah.
I blew my mind this morning. Anyway, you guys should just play
Where
around
is
the
this
internet
written?
more.
Where is this written down? They're gonna
Right
mark that off the list, and we are
Your turn.
done.
Anyway, we're probably going to have to get rid of the fruit or vegetable segment because I went through the toughest ones and we're pretty much done. So I'm going to need you to take the lead on the next segment.
Next week, strawberries.
Fruit.
So
Seeds.
Seeds.
last segment we could probably spend hours on,
Ooh.
but we're not. But we should probably talk about it a little
Sad
bit.
face.
Is so there's this massive film. What is he? Film producer? Film
Harvey Weinstein.
What is he?
The
Financier? Tell
Weinstein
me.
Company is a big production firm out in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they produce a lot of different
a
movies.
lot of successful movies.
A lot.
Of successful ones, right?
A lot.
Okay. And there has been rumored for a while that there was a what is he? Is he a film producer? Is that what it is? Like I don't know.
He's so he owns a company that
Film producer.
essentially produces films. So he's got hundreds of people that work underneath him. So and so pitches him, "Hey, I got this great idea. We got Adam Sandler. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
Okay,
I need $100 million."
and then
And
what-
then he goes to Harvey. He's like, "I want to produce this," and he's like, "I'll greenlight that, or I'll say nah."
Gotcha. So basically, these are people think that Hollywood actors and actresses are what controls
No,
Hollywood.
He controls Hollywood.
It's actually the people who have the money that actually do. And then which one do you want to talk about, PJ or Matt? PJ, what actually happened?
Okay, so what happened was apparently
I need more mic out of you.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks.
Women came out and said that he was sexually abusing them, and actually there was a model from I think Italy today, Steve.
Yep, saw it.
Yeah, who came out.
What was her name?
Mike, let me look up right now.
Steve will look that up. You keep giving us the
Okay,
The
the
scan.
turkey.
right. So all these people came out, and basically he's under a lot of heat from. It looks pretty to me. It looks pretty convincing that he did sexually abuse all these women.
Where was the initial report from?
Well, I think he admitted to that, didn't he?
Well,
I don't think that's a question, right?
Yeah, he came out and
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of actually people coming out. Now the recent one today, where there was a report that said that he raped people too.
right.
Oh,
Yeah.
rape?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but so you can go to jail for that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Totally.
So this is like not over for him.
But here's a really interesting part for it though. Is so he was sexually harassing women, actresses, and I think some of them even named here in the reports were Rose McGowan, Ashley Judd.
Oh,
Right?
really?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is they couldn't talk about it because they had
He
actually
controlled their
They
future.
settled with him. So basically, you sign an NDA, you sign an
Yep.
agreement that says,
Yep.
"All right, you know what? I was wrong. I'm going to give you $100,000." I think Rose McGowan got $100,000, but you can't say anything. And so for the longest time, she teased it. So like, there's this predator in Hollywood that everybody needs to know about, but you can never say it. So and it kind of. It puts them in an odd place because they can't say anything, but they need to get the word out about it. But this is crazy because all of the stuff that's happened, on the with Bill O'Reilly and all these other conservative-based guys, and now you have like one of the most elite, most powerful men in Hollywood, where all of these we talked about, like all these like liberal Hollywood, hangs out with and sucks up to. Well, he's just as much as a dirtbag as the rest of them.
Oh, yeah.
right. And so it's so.
I don't know why I said that like that. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's it's just like, what is it about these men that just feel like they can just touch people and do things? And
I feel like we talked a little bit about this, and it has to do. They're so out of touch with reality. You have that much money, and he doesn't.
But
Probably
it happens in all
want
walks
or
of life, right?
It
There's
does.
poor people that do that too.
Yeah. I'm sure. Listen, it's not. Yeah, it's not relegated to your financial status, but I think that these people don't hear no very often, and they have a lot of money, and they think that
And he's not a good looking. He's not a good looking dude either.
I
So
would
Is
not.
it just him taking advantage of his position?
Yeah,
and
it's just
and-
power.
yeah.
It's power and money, and
So now, do
Bad
they
motives, I
write
guess.
him off completely in Hollywood? Do you say, like all these movies that were made with Weinstein money, do you take the Weinstein name off?
listen.
of it?
At the
What
end
do
of
you
the
do?
day, if the movie's good, the movie is good. The
Sure.
actors,
Fair
the
enough.
director, they have nothing to do with Weinstein grabbing women, in my opinion. So I don't think you can say this movie was produced by the Weinstein Company. We can't. We have to boycott it. You know, they did the right thing. They got him out of there, and he's gone, and hopefully the culture will improve. But I don't know. What do you think, Jake? Do you boycott movies that they produce?
I don't watch movies in general, so they
So
all.
you just
lose in my
boycott
book. I
movies.
just boycott movies. In general. I actually lean very. You could say conservative on this side, which is like I think the amount of money that these actors and actresses are paid is absurd, right? And for them, just because they have a place on a massive screen and make millions of dollars,
Right.
They have a massive following, and they start spewing whatever type of ideology that they have. And some of it I actually think could be good. Some of it is like, why are you doing that? You know, it's kind of stay in your lane type of thing. But I think everybody has a voice. But I just think that a lot of America is just tired of being talked down to and saying, well, just because you think that doesn't necessarily make me think that. And I think that that liberal Hollywood has made themselves out to be like this holier than thou entity when, you know what, the king of liberal Hollywood isn't that great.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm not to say that all of liberal Hollywood is bad, but you just need to be careful with getting behind and getting on your moral what's this thing called? My moral horse, your moral soapbox, and saying like what I say should be law and what I say should we need to look at ourselves. And it comes back to what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, which was beginning of the show. I don't like the word podcast. Beginning of the show, which is I think everybody would do a little bit better if they meditated every day, right, PJ? And you do a little bit more introspection rather than saying, I need to put all my views out on you and you need to do what I say. We need to stay a little bit in our lane and learn a little bit more of why we feel this way and try and understand why when people react, why do we get triggered and react certain ways. So I always bring it back down to introspection, which is, I look at a guy like this and I'm just like, I would never put myself in that position to do something like that ever. But what can I do, in my immediate world that can help fix some of that, right? And so it can be, I'll always be respectful of women, holding the doors for them, whether it's sexist or not, right, Brianna? I always hold doors for women.
You guys really should watch Curb Your Enthusiasm. That was the whole premise of the first episode.
What's that?
Holding doors for women.
Yeah, so it's a question. I actually asked Brianna this. I was like, is it sexist that I hold doors for women and not men?
Yes, it is. Why would you not hold the door for anybody that needs to go into a place?
Right.
Okay, all right. A guy walks up and a girl walks up at the exact same time.
You hold the door for both.
How do you do that?
Just pull the door open and wait for both of them to go through.
Yeah,
You're not telling me your gut reaction is to hold it for the woman?
My
No.
gut reaction is to hold the door for anybody walking.
Yeah.
My immediate gut reaction is to go hold it for the woman. Open the door for the
Well,
woman.
I mean, I think that's better than holding it for a man, I suppose. They're a little bit,
Does that make us sexist?
No, I hold those for men.
I think it makes you sexist, buddy.
Okay.
I got to be honest with you.
Okay.
I need a win today. So, yeah, no, I hold the door for anybody. That's something that I'm very conscious about because when somebody
Not old
looks
people,
at
though.
me,
Fuck them. They can open
yeah,
their
fuck
own
the
door.
old people. When somebody looks at me and then because they have a decision to make, they're like, okay, well, I can either hold this door for this person or I can just keep going about my business. And when they don't hold it for me, I have like a lot of anger.
I'm
towards
totally-
them.
I do too.
I'm like, you are a piece of
Did
But
Hi.
introspectively, you are thinking that you deserve the door to be. You're trying to hold them to a certain value and
Well,
a certain expectation, when really you should just walk on through.
Yeah, well, I hold the door for others, and I don't. You know what? Actually, I am pretty messed up, aren't I? Because I hold the door, and if you don't say thank you when I hold the door, I get even more mad than if you didn't hold the door for me. So what I do is to make me feel better about me, I'll just go, "You're welcome."
Yes.
In that really condescending, sarcastic.
Oh, no problem.
What if
Yeah,
they're
no
hav-
problem. I have nothing else to do today but hold the door for you.
Well, I mean, but again, put yourself in their shoes.
You're getting
What
me
if
fired up
what
again.
if their mother just died? What if they're like
Yeah, yeah,
not
you're
consciously?
That
probably-
doesn't happen every day.
You're
though.
probably right.
People's mothers die every day.
Not when you hold the door for them.
Oh,
I think you're trying to make an excuse for people that should just do more. Quite frankly.
I think it behooves us to open the door for people. Men, maybe I need to do a better job of holding it for men. Maybe
I think you
do.
should because.
But here's the thing, like, all right, here's so you know the doors that open inwards, right? Inwards. You're behind, let's say a woman. You're behind it, and so we go, or a man, whatever. You want to open the door.
Yep.
Do you rush in front of them
And push it.
and do one of these things where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like all awkward?
I went across the way here.
Or
my.
do you? And this is something I try to like figure out with my wife too. Or do you rush ahead of them, cut them, go in first, and then hold it?
That's what I do.
Is that also not like a dick move though? Because you're cutting in front of them.
No, but you're showing them that you want to hold the door open for them. Let
Yes.
me get that for you.
Interesting. So that's okay to cut in line to do that.
It's
Of
understood.
course.
Yeah.
It's socially
Because I hate
acceptable.
the whole like you're kind of like, and sometimes because the door your arm might
Yep.
not be that strong, you're kind of
well,
like
that's what I was gonna say.
Well,
It
that's
depends how
odd.
heavy the door is.
Yeah.
But that's why it's a good move to just go ahead, hold it, and they'll appreciate.
Is
the
it an
gesture.
impact rated door or not?
Like those doors at the mall?
Oh
those
my
are
god!
Very heavy.
I don't even.
Those
Know,
you have to
I don't
go
even
inside.
open those. I just barrel roll into them.
I go in the handicap side.
Press the button.
Yeah,
There you
opens
go.
up. Yeah.
I was always the kid, like when I'd go shopping with my mom, she'd go into the department store and I'd just stay at the door and hold the door open for people the whole time while she was
Really?
there. Oh yeah.
Wow, you were a good person. What happened?
I don't know.
I could see you hiding like in all like the clothes too. Just
Where's Steve? He's in the lingerie section.
Never seen these before.
interesting.
Okay.
All right, so look, I guess we're not sexist, right, Brianna? We're good.
Cool.
Okay.
Is she like the moral high power of sexism?
Man with a baby
Yep.
and a woman, not married, not together, or walking up, and you have to hold the door.
Is this an F Mary kill situation?
Totally. Who do you hold the door for?
You press the handicap
Man
button.
It's
with
black
the-
and white to me.
Man with a baby
Yep. Or woman.
or a woman?
Yeah.
Who do you have to choose?
Why do you have
Why
to-
can't
I
I,
don't
open the door for
understand.
both of them?
Just the way the door goes, you have to. It's like one of those bifold doors, and you can't hold them for both.
Why you don't need to open two doors?
You do in this? You do in this one.
You don't.
So
No.
who do you open it
I'm
for?
holding it
Put
for
a
the
sign
woman.
in front of the other
Hold
doors.
your woman. What about you?
For the woman.
I
The dude should be
refuse
able to
answer
jockey
that.
both. I mean, come
who
on.
you doing?
Actually, I should have took that approach.
Nope.
This is
I
my problem.
refuse to answer.
I'm good. No, I'm going with the baby because
No.
here's the babies trump everything. They do.
Was that a Trump joke?
No, not at all.
No.
Because, and I will say, people are so friendly to you when you have a baby in a stroller, whether you're on a run or walking. Like old women and walkers will get off the sidewalk for you to go straight through. And I always say, thank you so much.
Well, it's because
do
they're
it again next
they're
time.
probably
for me.
mothers and they've
Totally understand.
birthed children and
Yeah.
they can probably
But here's
have
another
a
thing
little bit
about
more
kids
of a-
too. Guess what about those old people? They want to touch your kid.
That's unacceptable.
And they literally say, "Can I touch her?" It's easy to say no until like this cute lady and it doesn't happen real quick. It's not like, "Can I touch the baby?" It's more like, "Oh, how's it going? What's her name? Oh, she's so cute. Can I see her?" Sure.
Yeah,
And she's
that's
close.
fine.
And then she's close, and she's, "Can I touch her?" And she's been so nice. It's so hard to say no. It is so hard to say no.
How do you say no? No, don't.
What's that?
Did they ask
I've
you
never
to-
said no.
Do they
It's
ask
so
you to-
hard.
do they ask
those
you to
old
touch
ladies
her?
they put a trance on you?
They say, "Can I
And it's
touch
kinda-
her?"
yeah,
That's a
can I
weird way to
touch
say
her?
that. Can you say, "Can I hold her?"
No. Well, but that has
Oh,
happened.
God, why
we
am I
were at
wrong?
our favorite
What is wrong with
restaurant,
you guys?
Corner Cafe.
You can't. You wouldn't let an old lady
And
hold
a
your
lady
baby.
literally said, "Can I hold her?" And I was holding her like this, and I was like, "Sure."
Yeah,
And she held her.
Yeah. So,
And then she immediately, but I knew that she was going to cry, so I was like, "This is going to be really quick."
oh yeah, you're perfect. You're like, oh yeah, she usually
hates
never
you.
cries with
Sorry, come
strangers
here.
or other people.
You smell like formaldehyde. Yeah,
So
not
yeah.
sexist of us.
Yeah.
You feeling good about today?
I'm
Good?
feeling great. I'm
Better?
feeling great.
Am I gonna get a call later that
I'm
says,
not
"I apologize"?
polarizing. You guys actually look like worse people than me today, so I'm really
Not
happy
me. I
about
feel
that.
good.
Yeah, you should feel good. You did all right.
PJ skins cats.
PJ's
at
like
night.
Whoa.
animal hater as a whole.
Gotta get controversial sometimes.
And Jeff, we'll give Jeff a pass. We'll ask him another question tomorrow or something.
Awesome. Where can we find you, Matt?
You can find me.
That's it.
Yeah, that's
we only
it.
got like one battery left too, so we gotta
That's
wrap
it.
it up.
You can find me at Jake Carney at Jake Surfs.
I was asking Matt. I was like, he's like, I really should. He has a Twitter account.
Yeah,
you know what it is?
I think.
Matthew Delando Business Development
I think so.
is his Twitter handle.
That's not surprising.
I don't even know if that's truly it or if it's still active.
It's probably like a 5-year-old like tweet about like a latest Forbes magazine.
No, I've
article.
never tweeted. I don't know how. Never tweeted. Won't even try to figure it out.
Like sending a text message.
No, not
Do you have
got
an
time for
image? Default image?
He's an egg.
It's an egg.
This is too much. I just wish it was like 1975 where we can just like, just go do just like normal things. And just
A
be like,
bunch of
hey, how's it
drugs.
going? I'll see you next week. Great. You want to go to the bar? Sure.
You really would like to back to 1975?
Oh my God. I just was born in the wrong generation. The music was so much better. Like, can you imagine being able to be like, hey, what are you doing Friday night? I'm going to check out the Stones. Or I'm
You
going
can
to
still do that.
yeah.
You have
Or I'm
to
going
pick.
to see Led Zeppelin. Or I'm going to Woodstock. What?
You have
It's
to
the
pick.
coolest thing ever.
You grow up in the 70s or you grow up in this generation and get to appreciate everything. 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
But you know how much more you appreciated back in the day because none of this existed?
Do you though? Because I don't know. Back in the day, like that's just the standard. Now I feel like we appreciate it more.
Well, knowing what I know now and living in the generation I live in now, I could never go back. But if I didn't know that you could like,
But knowing
take
what you
pictures
know
of,
now
like,
and going back into 1975.
could never do it.
Oh.
You could never do it. How could you do that?
Spy Who Shagged Me, Austin Powers.
No. But have you seen like I know we're wrapping this
I
up.
don't know.
But have you seen like the guy
Too
time
bad.
traveler guy that you've seen like boxing matches like from like 1970 or 80?
He's an alien. I
And
told
he-
you they
and he
look
has
like
an-
humans.
And he's taking a picture with a cell phone and like in like 1980s. Have you
Wow.
seen this?
No, I didn't know they had phones until like 2000.
They
Yeah.
didn't.
Okay, so what am I missing here?
So some people
He's a
think he's a
time
time traveler.
oh God,
There's also
this is the other
a
problem with the
person
world.
in like 1920
What time
that
travelers?
was pictured
Yeah,
with a
just
phone in their
everything.
hand too.
It's everything.
We'll
Photoshop, guys. Photoshop.
No, it's real.
It's so real.
We'll save
Okay.
that for.
I
another
gotta
episode.
go. I got things to do.
PJ, you doing all
It's been a
right?
blast.
Doing great.
Good, good.
Follow me on Twitter, PM Rada, and I'm Team Follow Back.
I need you to say that slower.
Team
so
follow
people,
back.
Yeah, you'll get a follow back.
Wow.
Nothing. To lose.
Wow. Nothing to lose.
Follow me.
Guys playing for keeps. Playing for keeps.
Well, thank you guys, everybody.
you.
We won't be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's a travel day for
Tomorrow's
us.
travel day, yeah.
Oh man.
But we'll be back on Thursday for this, and then
Excellent.
Friday you probably won't do it, but I'll maybe get a guest host or somebody.
I don't know why you got to call me out every Friday. Every Friday. It's just like, hey, he's probably not going to be here.
You said we will be back Thursday.
Yeah,
we-
Thursday
okay.
we're
Is that
on.
cool?
Cool.
We're trending on Thursday.
Love it.
Cool.
See ya.
See ya.
I missed that one
Yeah,
badly.
the hoop was down.
Hoop's
actually.
down.
Oh,
you had no chance.
we'll see ya.
See ya.